What's going on, guys? Victor here. We are on the west coast of Florida. Dennis and I got up super early this morning, had a nice drive over the Skyway Bridge. We got invited out here by Brent from See Ya Dude.
How's it going, guys?
And we got Dylan from Hog Squad Fishing.
How's it going?
So we are after a fish known as the black drum today. Talked about it in the peacock video. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. I'm talking about these big old black drum that live by the bridge. And this time of year, these guys say they are very plentiful. So we're gonna head over there. Should have a good day. Even excited to use the baits. We got these big blue crabs for baits. Let's get after it, boys.
All right, guys, so when we pull up to the bridge, I'm looking for black drum. The first thing I do is turn on my side scan. I look to see where they are. Every day is kind of different. They'll be on one piling, next day they'll be on a different piling. You kind of just got to turn on side scan and really look for them. They move around quite a bit. I mean, fish have tails, but like the other day they were on these brand new pilings. Today I'm looking at side scan, nothing. So it's all about kind of cruising around, seeing where the fish are.
We worked our way all along the bridge trying to find them, and so we're putting the trolling motor in, getting situated, start fishing here, see if we get a few bites, and if not, we can always pull up and look around. But you got to think there's this huge bridge right here. They could be anywhere up along it, and he says every single day they're in a little bit of a different spot. I don't know about you guys, but I love just doing different things and fishing a different bait. Like, we never fish blue crabs where we live. I fished whole little blue crabs for permit, but these big chunks of blue crab, that's just exciting to me. Like this. Look at that. That is our bait today.
Yeah, you can go out and buy them at different bait shops. Sometimes they're hard to find. You have to call around. We set out a couple traps. We caught a couple of them, but we also bought about a dozen. So we should have close to 2 dozen crabs ready to go. And yeah, we'll break them in half, use half a crab, and they'll thump it. Yeah.
Oh, I think that
a
guy
dead
better
one.
be dead. That guy found like your bulls.
It's a dead one.
There's like one. There's one on. See, you can literally mark. I mean, if you, I don't know if the camera picks it up. It should. But there's the back of the drum. There's the tail. I mean, you can see the shadow almost clear as day. Tell what it is. So they're on this side, and then they're right behind us. I'm gonna move us forward just a little bit, so we can get on them.
All right, so the first thing that we do is we want to break off these claws. Whoa, he's still a little lively, isn't he? You break off these claws because you can also save these and use these for bait. If you're getting a little desperate, if you start running out of bait, you can put like 2 claws on at a time as well. So we'll throw those back in the bucket. Break off that claw. And then all we do is take the knife right here and then push down just like that. Cut down. And you got half your blue crab right there. And that's the perfect size for these black drum right here. You just put the hook right through the bottom, and these things will get thumped on the bottom very fast.
All right, let me show you guys the rig. 6-0 Mustad Demon Circle, 3-ounce weight right above it. The boys said that you don't need anything fancy. 80-pound tough line fluoro. And you guys can save 20% off all Mustad tough line products using my code LANDSHARK link below. So Brent so kindly already chopped these crabs in half for us. I'm gonna hook up half a blue crab, just like that. Look at that juicy bait. So we switched spots. We were just on the other side of this fender, still looking for these fish. We're marking them on the side scan, but they're just like anything. They might be waiting for the tide to switch or something. We are patiently waiting with our crabs on bottom.
When I was on the pilings and we're just like fishing straight up and down, I used to jig it a little bit and you have to just feel them thump it while you're just kind of like bouncing it on the bottom. Yep. Oh!
This one.
Yeah, he already had me in the piling.
Brent, what are you doing over there?
They do exist.
Alright, yep, 0 for 1.
Don't mind if I do, Brent.
Never felt the bite. I just saw my line start going to the left, and he already had me in there. Yeah,
Oh,
look
he
at that.
broke you off.
Look at that fray.
Yeah, look at them. You can see their body. I mean, it's like a big arch back.
I felt a bite, and I have no more baits, so definitely they're coming through.
You better win.
Come on, Dylan.
Got him.
There we go. That's the one.
Here we go, guys. Finally got one.
There he is.
Woo. Man. Finally. We got a remora on him. We did it! Guys, that was a grind right there. But they're starting to bite, so hopefully we can get a few more.
I didn't even know you were on. I saw the fish open up. I'm like, oh.
Dude, I didn't, I just thought, boom. You just grab by the gills too. Hoist them up.
Yeah, there's Big Ugly right there. Woo!
Nice. Come on. I like
You
that.
casted way in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to get way up tight.
Oh, dude, he's
Man.
hooked good.
Yeah, here. There we go. All right, guys. There he is. First bridge monster. Not as much as a bridge monster as they usually have been, but today has been an absolute grind. It's just like wolf packs have been rolling through. But hey, if one eats when it's been a grind, I'm happy. But just a beautiful fish right there. Love chasing them, catching them on the blue crabs. An absolute battle. Well, we're
Yeah.
keeping them for the catch and cook, so there he is.
They're usually full of worms, which I'm not afraid of. They're harmless spaghetti worms, which you guys will see once we fillet this thing. But if you guys see, this fish is perfectly adapted and built to eat crabs. Way back in his throat, he's got these huge set of crushers, kind of like a permit has, so that way they can eat crustaceans. And they hang around these bridges because a lot of crabs flush by. You got all the oysters and barnacles on the bridge, and they actually eat that stuff. The boys say that this is on the smaller end of what they usually catch. The fish could be anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds. This is a perfect eater size. Oh, here we go. Come on, eat it, eat it. He picked it up, then dropped it.
You got hit?
Yeah.
Come on! Come on! I gotta get
All
my
right, Brent's
revenge!
Oh yeah. That's a big one.
Come on! There we go. We finally found them. The current started moving, wind picked up, so stuff started moving, the fish started chewing. There we go.
Got Brent is hooked up back here. Finally out.
There we go.
One of those things, like that all day.
Come on, bud. Yeah, that was good. Come on over here.
You're up grabbing.
I got him. There we go. Fish are chewing now. That is number 2 on the day right there. My first one, maybe slightly bigger than yours, still not that monster, but they're chewing right now. I'm not gonna complain. Let's get the hook out. Good release on this guy. We found him now.
Yeah, I think I think it's a matter of just they turned on.
Dude,
They just turned on all of a sudden. The alkaline tide started pushing, and they just flipped on. We were dropping on them all day long.
yeah.
And there's nothing. As soon as the water movement started, bam.
Yeah, this guy thumped the crap out of it too. I was just keeping my line kind of tight on there and just felt that thump, and I didn't even give it like half a second. I just reeled down immediately and laid into him. Awesome fish.
Vic's the only one without a drum so far, but so we've been at this for probably 2 hours, I want to say. Went to 2 different bridges, keep going up and down the pilings, and we finally found a group of fish that want to eat. I just had a hit right before Brent caught that fish, but it dropped it. So we're just gonna sit here patiently. And I just think it's just like anything else. They're here, they just didn't want to eat, and now they turned on. I'd appreciate it if you guys checked out their channels. I'll have both of them linked below. We got Hog Squad, as well as Brent from See Ya Dude.
Appreciate it.
And then Dylan also runs charters out of Tampa. I think we're gonna come back here, get on some big tarpon, but he does pretty much everything there is to do in the bay, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything from gag grouper to tarpon to black drum, redfish, anything you think of, I'll do it. Just let me know what you want to do.
So check him out, real good dudes, had a lot of fun, and we're gonna call it a day. Dennis and I gotta drive home 4 hours back to the East Coast. We'll see you guys there. When you heard me talk about the black drum, I said that they might have worms, so we're gonna dig into this fish and see if it has them. So one thing about black drum, they got massive scales, just like a sheep's head would. And if you guys see, they are truly big. And I'm actually using a knife called a dual edge Dextreme, made by Dexter. And it's got 2 sides, it's got 2 edges to the blade, okay? You got a normal side and then you got a serrated side, perfect to get through these tough scales. And I'm gonna outline our whole fish with that serrated side.
Scales are huge.
Monstrous. About as big as they come for any fish. That's why I like having this knife for fish like this. The meat looks really good though. So far I don't see any worms.
I'm trying to think, have we ever eat one?
We've eaten really small black drum.
Ones, right? From
We've
the West Coast?
Yeah, we've never eaten a big one. So once I get to here, I'm gonna go over his rib cage. Drum, any drum species, grouper species have a really big rib cage. You gotta go over it. You gotta go over that rib cage. So follow your knife up and over, down on the other side of the backbone. Look at that, I don't see any worms.
Oh, I see one.
There, oh yeah, there's one right there. Look at that. So normally, when you fillet a fish like a drum, I've even seen it in grouper. If they have worms, which are known as spaghetti worms, they're gonna be generally towards the tail end of the fish, but this guy really doesn't have many. There's one little one right here. I've seen it much worse before. Let's see if we could get this guy out so I could show you what it looks like. Maybe it'll be easier to take off once I skin it.
I see there, maybe a little bit there. You can see that it goes through to the other side on the carcass.
So I didn't catch any black drum on this trip, but it was fun to experience it and see these big guys. These fish get huge, in excess of 50 pounds. Pretty much caught all up and down the East Coast, all the way up to New York. I think is the furthest they kind of go. But Dylan and Brent, they catch them pretty much all summer long. Like I was telling you guys, Dylan does charters over there. So if you wanted to do a trip like this yourselves, we had a slow day, but it gets really good where they're catching 10 plus fish in one day. I can't even imagine the scales on a 50 plus pound fish. Okay. There's the other side.
Oh, we got more.
Oh yeah. Okay. That right there is a spaghetti worm. I know it's not much, but he kind of tore when I was pulling him out. Just to show you guys, you don't have to be afraid of this. That's a raw spaghetti worm that I just ate. Look, nothing. If I can do it when they're raw, you certainly should not be afraid of eating them when they're cooked, okay? Brooke says no. She says no kisses for me. But yeah, they're completely harmless. This is not the first, second, third, or even fourth time that I've eaten a raw spaghetti worm. And once you cook them, you don't even see them. They kind of blend into the meat. And fish like this, black drum, often get a bad rap and designated as a trash fish because of those spaghetti worms. Sometimes they have no worms. Sometimes they're all throughout the meat. Same thing with amberjacks. Amberjacks tend to have spaghetti worms as well. But it's a shame that people look so down upon fish like this because of a few little worms that they're afraid to eat. Because the fish itself is amazing. So it's always interesting to see what's in these fish's bellies, especially something like a crab eater. So let's cut out his stomach. See all that? That is all shells. Shells from shrimp, shells from crabs. The barnacles that you guys see on the pilings, they will eat that on a lower tide when they can. But just full of hard skeletons and shells and rocks and stuff. Listen to this. You hear that?
Looks like all barnacles to me.
Barnacles, oysters.
Incredible, huh?
Mm-hmm. So as you can imagine, these are not very aggressive fish. They're kind of, I was surprised. We were marking them on the side scan the whole time. And you see them coming through, but I think they're really lazy. And unless that crab is sitting in front of their face, they're not going to sense it like they would a bait fish on bottom that's making a bunch of vibrations. These are real lazy fish. Seems like they just have an all-you-can-eat buffet of all those barnacles and oysters on the pilings. Whenever we skin, always line your fillet up with the edge of the fillet table. And the reason for that is you can get your knife handle flush, because if you're out here, you can't get it flat. You want it to be as flat as possible when you skin. Okay, I push away from me at a slight angle down, and my left hand is always trailing right behind the back of the blade, so I know what my knife is doing at all times. Okay? Look at that. Huge set of scales and skin. And I always like to use my skin of the fish. You guys always hear me talk about freshwater, not letting your fillets touch freshwater. If you've been rinsing off your fillet table and then you set your fish on the fillet table, that's being exposed to freshwater. You don't want that either. I try to minimize contact with freshwater at all costs. Just denatures the fish. So we're gonna cut out the pin bones right here, going on both sides. Saving this. Brooke's dad loves feeding the pet goggle eyes that we have penned up, so we're gonna save that for him. Let's see, there's another little worm. This guy, I'm really surprised there wasn't too many worms in him. Oh man.
Boy.
That's a good one right there. That's a good, you zoomed in, Brooke?
No, don't eat it.
Why?
Because I don't want you to.
Why not?
That's disgusting. You should feed it to your pet catfish. Good.
They like it. I used 2 knives to fillet this black drum. We got the Max Flex for skinning, and then I used the 8-inch dual-edged Extreme. You guys can save 20% off both. Use my code LANDSHARK. DexTroutdoors.com, also have it linked below. This thing is thick. Armor plated. Look at that. Crazy skin on these guys. This is the first time Dennis is seeing the fish. What do you think?
It's definitely got a bloodline.
Big bloodline, but it's fresh.
It looks good though.
It's the least, I was telling Brooke, it's the least wormiest fish of this size that I've ever seen. I've caught black drum that are this big that have 3-4 times the amount of worms. Sea trout, smaller sea trout that have way more worms. So this does not scare me at all. We are gonna do a mayo sun-dried, we're gonna do a sun-dried tomato paste marinade, okay? But first, we're just hitting the fish on both sides with salt, pepper, garlic powder, you know, the real classic. And then we're gonna go ahead and make our mayo marinade. To me, this looks like snapper. Kind of looks like red snapper to me. But Vic, you're crazy. It's not a red snapper. Look, once you season it up, you can't even see the worms. That's the secret. No, I didn't cut out any worms. Full worm. It does have a big bloodline. So this is a fish I would definitely eat fresh and not freeze. If I were to freeze that bloodline, that is not good. That would really turn someone off because this bloodline will turn every single day you leave bloodline in a fish. Even if it's refrigerated, it's gonna get darker, gamier, oilier, and it's gonna have that off-putting fishy flavor that most people don't like. But when eaten fresh, I think bloodline actually adds a lot of flavor to the fish. I almost forgot. When I think of black drum, I think Cajun, Creole. I don't know why, but that's where my mind goes to. So we're gonna do a little Creole seasoning just on one side, just to spruce it up a little bit. Give it some more flavor. This stuff I discovered recently. Sun-dried tomato pesto. Heavy in calories. This whole bottle is like 1,000 calories, but I'm telling you, it is so delicious. I just got a little bit of mayo right here, just enough to coat the top of the fish, and we're gonna go in with like that much of this sun-dried tomato pesto. This stuff is really strong and has a lot of flavor. It's really concentrated, so you don't need too much. Now you notice I didn't put any oil or butter on our fish, and we're gonna grill it outside on the Camp Chef on the sheet pan. So this right here is gonna serve as our fat to cook our fish in. Now I'm just gonna do a light layer, you know, kind of just brush this right on top of our fish. Don't need too much, but it's gonna give us that extra pop of flavor. And since fish is lean anyway, you gotta add some fat to it. Okay, so to go along with our fish, we're gonna make like a little, I don't know what you'd call it, like a Cajun vegetable medley to go on top of our jasmine rice. So the same sun-dried tomato pesto, I'm gonna take about this much, and I just have 1 cup of water mixed with some chicken base, some chicken bouillon. And this is just gonna give our vegetables some liquid and some flavor so we can go on top of our rice so it's not just plain white rice. Okay, firing up the sidekick for our veggies. Camp Chef is set to right around 400 degrees. Gonna go straight onto the grill on the sheet pan. Gotta love that smoke. We'll see those guys in a little bit. Butter. Going into the pan. In here, I got diced yellow, red, orange bell pepper, and 1 medium yellow onion. Going into the fat. So we're just gonna saute our peppers and onions until they get nice and soft. I got some asparagus going in there, corn, some cannelli beans, tomato, and it should be done. Vegetables are sauteed. We're gonna go in with half a head of garlic, get that going, as well as some sliced grape tomatoes. Tomatoes are softened up, released a good amount of juice. Now, I save these 2 ingredients for last because I don't want them to get mushy. So, asparagus, I like a good crisp asparagus. Asparagus is great, you could eat it raw. We're gonna let the asparagus cook down a little bit and then add in our corn. So actually, before we put in our corn, I'm gonna go in with that mixture we made inside earlier. That's gonna add a lot of flavor to these veggies. Final touch for our veggies, big can of corn. Look at all those beautiful colors. Fish is done. I'd say it was like 15 minutes. Some pieces were thicker than others, so it didn't cook evenly. But I cooked the whole fish. So this is the whole black drum, actually. It's how much fish you get off of around a 15-pound black drum. Just fluffing up our jasmine rice. Let's make a plate. I love a perfectly good cooked white rice. All this flavorful Cajun vegetable. Make sure we get a lot of that juice. Everyone gets some juice. Look at this. That does not look like a trash fish to me.
It's always nice to take a break from work and come to one of these absolute delicious lunches. So thank you, Victor, for letting me try this this black drum. It's great.
The lunch thing has been happening a lot recently.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, lucky us. We get dinners and lunches. It's amazing. And this plate's super colorful and pretty. It tastes really good and looks amazing. I think this is one people should try. It's very good.
So yesterday when we were fishing, or no, we were driving back from Tampa, I said, Dennis, has there ever been a fish in the last year and a half we worked together that you didn't like? And he said no. And I said, what are some of the fish that really stood out to you? You want to know what he said? Bluefish was one of his favorite fish, and I agree. The bluefish we had a couple weeks ago was so good. This black drum kind of reminds me of it. It's very, it's got a good oil content, good flake. I love the sauce on top of it. I really like it. And when we were with Dylan and Brent as well, every time we meet fans or subscribers or captains, they're like, Vic, do you actually like all the fish that you guys talk about in the videos? And I said, I've never, ever lied. If there was something that I didn't like or it had a bad taste, I would tell you, because why would I want everyone else to go and try it if it wasn't good? But this is a 10 out of 10 in my book.
That sauce on top of the fish is very delicious. So even if you didn't have a grill like we have to cook the fish on, you can just throw that sheet pan in the oven, and I'm sure it would be absolutely delicious on any kind of fish. Not gonna lie, I did watch Victor fillet this fish, so I did see that there were some worms in there. I did kind of try to make him pick them all out. So I'm not gonna lie that it is in my head a little bit, but it's still absolutely delicious, and I am going to eat my entire piece of fish.
Hey, she didn't tell me there was worms in it. Mine's gone. I didn't taste any worms. It was all good.
All right, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Ricky can sign us off. I'll catch you in the next one.